Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Spill the Tea, Lou. My name is Lou. Please do smash a like on your way in. Hopefully, everybody has recuperated a little bit after last night's absolute madness. I am not sure that I am fully recovered. I woke up exhausted this morning, and it's not just that it's early, that it's Tuesday, that I have to go to work. Oh my goodness me. I was screaming, I was groaning, I was giving out. Oh my God, what a match. And I have to say, every single neutral that I've seen or spoken to afterwards has been like, that was an unbelievable match. You have Jamie Carragher saying it was the match of the season. That's what the Premier League's all about. That's an advertisement for the Premier League. Well, I'm sure it was just lovely for you lot. But us Manchester United fans and Bournemouth fans didn't enjoy it in quite the same way you did. There was certainly lots of screaming, but not all of it was good. Oh my goodness. When we were doing our match predictions, when everybody was talking about this match, I don't think anybody predicted a score of 4-4. What a madness. You'll have often heard me say on this channel that I love a bit of chaos. I love the chaos in the Premier League. I love the chaos in the football. We love a bit of an upset. Yeah, I probably should have been a bit more specific. I love it when it's not happening to my team. There is so much to get through, so I'm going to get stuck into the match because obviously we don't want the video to be an hour long. You'll lose your minds. It'd be boring for you. So, the final score was Manchester United 4, Bournemouth 4. I still can't believe it. 8 goals. Unreal. That leaves Manchester United here in 6th. We are on the same points as Crystal Palace and Liverpool and Sunderland. Yes, there's 4 of us there on 26 points. Crystal Palace are ahead of everybody with their +5 goal difference. Manchester United have a +4 goal difference. What we can see here, folks, just while we look at the goal difference, because at the moment it's important to us with 4 of us on 26 points, we have scored 30 goals this season. Considering one of the problems we had last season was scoring goals, it was the ability to get the ball inside the back of the net. We have scored 30 goals this season. That is the same amount of goals as Arsenal. You see this team up here, top of the table? 30. The only team in the league that has more goals scored than Manchester United in this season is Manchester City with 38, and that's Erling Haaland. So I'm not going to cry about that. We don't have one of them. But look at this. 26 goals conceded. And I would just like to say, I told you so. Do you remember when everybody was saying, oh, we need a midfielder? We do. I'm not saying we don't. We do, because my God, the midfield. Yes, I'm aware. But we also need a defender. Our defence is not okay. They're getting, we went through it on the video. I'm not going to go through them all again. Maguire retiring. Shaw, injury prone. We don't know how long we're going to have him for. The performances will probably stop after the international tournament. Even at that, he can only perform for half a match. De Ligt. Oh my God, we miss De Ligt. De Ligt is injured and we miss him so much. Anybody that says De Ligt wasn't doing anything, De Ligt wasn't good enough, De Ligt was underwhelming, you are categorically wrong, because see, now we don't have him. Look. Martinez off the pace after such a long injury. We expect that. We should be able to ease him back in. In a game like that against Bournemouth, probably wouldn't be my idea of easing him back in, but Amram likes to go his own way. Heaven and Yarrow are only learning, and I think that's us. Have I forgot anyone? I don't think I've got anyone. Mazraoui is now off to AFCON, wasn't allowed to participate as far as we know last night by his nation. Is very good, but I mean, so what? We've got one very good, two very good, but one of them's injured and one of them's at AFCON. So I mean, this number, this 26, could get a whole lot bigger in the next month, because De Ligt's still out and Mazraoui's gone and everybody else is hit and miss for various reasons. Some of them in their control, some of them not. But to think we have scored the second highest goals in the league and we're sitting 6th because we can't keep them out of our net, as last night illustrated. So look, let's start with the goals. We're going to get into the Dalot challenge on Semenyo. We're going to get into the Semenyo's hand around Dalot's throat. We're going to look at a handball in the box that wasn't given. We're going to look at a few different things. They're going to be controversial. Some of us are going to disagree. That's all right, once we disagree nicely. So The first goal, there were so many, I had to make a list because even though I watched the match, there was so many goals, I didn't want to get them all in the wrong order. So Ahmad scored the first goal. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's do this for you so you'll be able to see it as I'm talking through them. What are you? Please go away. I should have had this ready, but I didn't think of it, so here we are. Let's start at the start. That's where we go, isn't it? And let's share the screen. Great, you can see it. That's what we want. So, first goal, 13 minutes in, Amad Diallo, cross in from Dalot, Ahmad scores. Very good goal, very good cross. Dalot, really, really good cross. Ahmad, one of his better matches of the season. I've said several times, I love Ahmad, very good player, but young, developing, will have ups and downs. This season has been a little bit up and down. One of his better games of the season yesterday, very attacking, very his linking up was good. Just really, really, really good match from Ahmad yesterday. Goal number 2, as we see there, Antoine Semenyo makes it 1-1. So good. But it also came from poor play from us. So Mount I wouldn't even know if I'd call it a pass. He sort of knocks it towards Shaw. So Mount has a defender at his back. There's a player, I think it was a defender. Another Bournemouth player kind of to his side. He kicks it towards Luke Shaw, sort of half chips it a little bit to him. They're only about 2 foot apart. Luke Shaw has a player beside him. Obviously, I believe that was Semenyo. He kind of muscles Luke Shaw off the ball. Now, Luke Shaw does have things bad in his game. We have a lot of complaints about Luke Shaw, but they're primarily around his ability to stay fit. He's not the type of player you expect to be muscled off the ball. There's players that you expect it from and there's players you don't. So if you said to me, Bruno Fernandes or Amad Diallo was muscled off the ball, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, that sounds about right. When you're telling me Luke Shaw was muscled off the ball, I'm like, all right, lad, you could do a bit better there. You're strong, push him back. But he didn't. So Luke Shaw was muscled off the ball. Semenyo takes the ball and runs all the way down towards the box and just scores. Just runs in and scores. Nobody stopped him. They just all let him go. So very good from Semenyo. Very poor from Manchester United. Dalot then feels some frustration. Gets himself a yellow card. Oh no, this is right. Okay, so we've got to the Dalot Semenyo tackle here. Okay. It's just because it says argument. And Semenyo's is for arguing. Yeah, those yellows weren't for arguing. They've got that a wee bit wrong there. So, let me just show you this. I'm going to share this so you can see it. So, what you can see here is Casemiro and Will Hughes. This lasted a brief second, and it was in a big hullabaloo of multiple players. Everybody was going at it. Casemiro got a red card for this. Fair enough. At the time, I thought it was a bit harsh, but I can see where the red came from. Semenyo has literally grabbed Dalot by the throat. If this is a red, this should also be a red. I mean, look at them. If this is a red, this is also a red. Now, before people have a little heart attack, I saw the tackle that Dalot put in on Semenyo. So Semenyo's up in the air. Dalot kind of comes in under him and he sort of tips him. Dangerous. I am not disagreeing. You will not hear me arguing with that. And it did also look, and I can't say this for sure, but perception, it looked as if Dalot might have done it on purpose. It looked as though it might have been a little bit calculated. Even if it wasn't calculated, it's dangerous because if Semenyo falls in an awkward manner, he can hurt badly. He can break something. Dangerous. I agree. I am not arguing. But that does not mean that he can get up and grab someone by the throat, okay? I understand. I agree it was dangerous. And I agree that I would be angry. And if it was the other way around and Semenyo did it to Dalot, I'd have been screaming. I'd have been raging. I am not disagreeing with any of that. That does not mean he can get up and grab a player by the throat. You cannot do that. So Dallo got a yellow for a bad tackle. A tackle I would say was probably orange. I can understand why some people would say, well, it was reckless and he endangered the other player. Dallo also should have got a red. I'm not going to argue to the hilt. I think it was an orange. I think it was, obviously I would have wanted a yellow, but I can understand the argument. However, that does not negate this. You cannot get up for any reason and grab another player by the throat. It is violent conduct. He should have been sent off. That's it. I'm not arguing about it. Those are the facts. If you think that these two incidents are different and there's a genuine, legitimate reason why one of them is a red and the other one is not, let me know. Don't come back at me with, well, Dallo's challenge was bad. Okay, that doesn't make this not bad. Okay, two things can be true. So I just wanted to get that up for you. Now let's go back to what we were looking at. So then after this, so they both got a yellow. They both stayed on the pitch. And you know what? As much as I believe Semenyo should have got a red, if we want all things to be equal, what I will say is I'm very glad he didn't, because we don't play well against 10 men. We don't play well against teams that sit in. So Bournemouth were very open. They were very expansive. They were playing out. There was spaces. We play better against a team like that. If Semenyo had been sent off, they would have sat in. They would have defended. They would have closed the spaces. It would have been much, much harder for us to play our game. And we know, because we've already done it this season, that we don't play well against that type of a team or against a team with 10 men. So while I believe it was a red, I'm glad he didn't get it, because it meant we could actually continue to play football, which then led to us going 2-1 up. So if I'm right, this was the corner. Yeah, Bruno put in a corner. Casemiro heads the ball in. There was nobody really on Casemiro, which I found a little bit odd, because Casemiro was at the back post, heads it in. Casemiro was a threat in the air. Casemiro has scored several headed goals for us. He's known for being a threat in the box, in the air, and he wasn't really being marked. So I thought that was a bit naive from Bournemouth. But look, it's also Casemiro finding himself the space. So it's a bit of Casemiro doing well, Bruno doing well to find him, and Bournemouth not defending particularly well. Like, it's the same if you Harry Maguire in the box. It was the same when we used to have Scott McTominay. If you know these players are good on corners, at set pieces, with their heads, they're the ones that you focus on more so than others. But look, 2-1 in at half time. We're going, right, okay, we've got it back. It's been a bit, but we've got it back a bit. We're leading at half time. Every single Manchester United fan I know that I was speaking to, that was in the groups, that was online, were all saying, we need another goal. We need another goal. We need another goal, because we will capitulate. We are going to rue the chances we have missed. So we had a lot of chances in the first half, particularly in the first 25 minutes. The vast majority of the attacking was Manchester United. Bournemouth weren't putting a whole lot forward in the first 25 minutes. And we had, let me see, because I wrote down, we had Ahmad had been blocked, and Mbeumo had several misses. Cunha had some misses. Cass had sent it wide. And what I wrote down was, will we regret these chances missed? Well, past Lou, the answer is yes. We will regret these chances missed, because it gave them the opportunity to come back into the match. What I will also say, though, after the 25th minute, Bournemouth really had started to grow into the match. They were starting to, you can see the momentum shifting. So the first 25 minutes, the tempo was really high. The intensity was really high. Manchester United were on the attack. And then slowly, that ebbed away. Bournemouth had really started to grow into the match, which is obviously how they got their goal. But you could see the tide was turning. And it made me think of so many other matches we've had this season, where we're playing well, we're up for it, we're doing good, and then we allow the other team back into it. We invite them basically back into it. And then we start the second half terribly. The intensity and the tempo that we had started the first half with and had started to drop didn't relight at the start of the second half. So they go in for their break, they go in for their team talk, to go in to listen to their manager. They go in to reinvigorate and re-energize. So we should have come back out and started the second half the way we started the first half. We just absolutely didn't, which led then to Bournemouth scoring, and you've got 2-2. 2-2. Within like seconds, it was like 45 and whatever, so it's the 46th minute, but literally the first minute back on the pitch, they score. What I will just say, for the entire play for that goal, Dallo was on the floor. If you watch a replay of that goal, Dallo was just lying on the floor. It was never really addressed. Nobody knows why. He did eventually just get back up. I don't think he got any treatment, but he was just lying on the floor. So I don't know what happened. It didn't show. Maybe there was something off the ball. I don't know, but he was lying on the ground for that whole one. Just standard Casemiro yellow card, which means that Casemiro, I believe, will now be suspended for our next match, because I know it was put out recently that he if he got one more yellow, he would be suspended. I'm not sure when that resets, but I think he's out for the next game, which would have meant that Semenyo was actually likely to get a start, because we will now have Mbeumo and Ahmad gone to AFCON. That was their last match for us before AFCON. Casemiro was going to be suspended. So you're thinking just by sheer numbers, Semenyo was going to have to start. And he did get over 30 minutes on the pitch, because Casemiro comes off here at 61 minutes, Semenyo comes on. So Semenyo likely would have started the next match. And then we see this. Can you see it? Let me see if I can zoom it in for you. This here is Kobbie Mainoo's brother, Jordan. Jordan, who was on Love Island and was a little bit messy when he was on Love Island, season 5, one of the messy ones. Clearly likes a bit of attention. Clearly likes a bit of drama. I have to believe that Kobbie Mainoo knew nothing about this, because one of the things Kobbie Mainoo has been praised for is the fact that he has been so stoic, that he's handled the situation so well, that he hasn't come out into the media, that he hasn't been publicly complaining, that he hasn't been, doing all the things that we've seen our other young players or disgruntled players do. He's received an awful lot of praise for not doing stuff like this. And I'll be honest, it doesn't seem like his personality. It doesn't seem like the type of thing Mainoo would do. What this seems like is a brother trying to grab the attention. A brother who wants to be an influencer or whatever it is. A brother who at the moment, when Kobbie Mainoo is most likely to get his next start in the Premier League, does this. What is with Manchester United players and their brothers? Marcus Rashford's brother. Oh my goodness me, he has done Marcus Rashford no favours at all. None. Then we have Garnacho's brother. Another weapon. And now we have Kobbie Mainoo's brother. Someone we know tries to garner social media attention. Someone we know likes to be in the limelight. Someone who is literally on a reality TV programme literally to get attention. This here, I'm not putting on Mainoo because I don't think he knew about it. What he does need to do is go to his brother and ask him what the hell he thinks he's doing, and to stay the hell out of it. Because this man here, look at this face. This is not a man who's thinking about his brother. This is a man who is so self-satisfied with the attention that he's getting. But regardless, it's wrong. It can't happen. It's a bad look, and it doesn't do Mainoo's case any good whatsoever. Really annoyed me when I saw it last night. It annoyed me for Mainoo, because I don't even think Mainoo's the best player on the planet. I actually thought he was underwhelming towards the end of Eric Ten Hag's reign. But I certainly don't think he's worse than what we've been playing. So I don't see why he's not at the very least getting a chance. And if he gets a chance and he doesn't do it, then we can all say, right, you know what, Ruben Amorim, you were correct. But I mean, give him a go, because it couldn't be worse than what we're seeing. So anyway, Casemiro got his yellow, suspended. We've gone off on one about Kobbie Mainoo's brother, but there we are. Obviously, next thing that happens is Bournemouth go ahead. 3-2. We are 3-2 to Everton, and it was actually Tavernier from a free kick. Very good free kick, but it kind of goes through the wall. Lammens jumps quite late for it as well. I don't know if he couldn't see it through the wall or what it was. He jumped quite late for it. So he just didn't get there. And as you can see, Tavernier had actually already assisted Evan Nielsen just before that. So you're looking here, 6 minutes, 2 goals. 6 minutes after the second half started, and they've got 2 goals. We've gone from leading to losing. Fantastic. We've done some changes here. The one I want to look at the most, Martinez on, Yarrow off. This was not the game. 69 minutes in, 3-2, fast-paced, physical game. When Martinez is up to speed, this is exactly the kind of game he should be playing. When Martinez is coming back from a serious long-term injury and isn't quite up to speed and hasn't played a lot of in-game minutes yet, this is not the match or the time to throw him on. And I think when you are constantly disrupting the defence, it's not helping anybody. I'm not saying that Yarrow and Heaven had the games of their lives last night. They didn't. They had poor games. But I don't think the solution is to chop and change your defence in every single bloody match. When I did the reaction to the Arsenal match the other day, I said that was Arsenal's 8th different back four of the season. Now, the reason that I mentioned that, it was something that was actually discussed on the commentary at the time. So it was a big enough deal that the commentators on the match felt that it should be mentioned because it was so important. We have 2 per game. 3s, 4s, it doesn't matter, but we have 2 different defensive setups per match. So if it's a big deal to have 8 different ones in a season, what kind of a deal is it to have 2 different ones per match? What kind of disruption does that lead to in the defensive structure? How can Semenyo Lammens, as a young developing goalkeeper, set up his defence when he has to do it twice per game? Like, it's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I get myself shifted. So look, then we have Bruno Fernandes makes it 3-3 with his own free kick. Very, very good free kick. Very good free kick from Bruno Fernandes. Really, really good. Then obviously we've got some yellows handing out. We've got some changes happening as we're going. Matheus Cunha makes a 4-3. Very good goal. And what I really liked about it was after the goal, you could see Cunha. If you watch the replay of Cunha's celebration, he's not really celebrating. He just stands and he looks at the crowd in Old Trafford and you can see him he's drinking it in. He's remembering this moment. You can see him drinking it in, this moment. I'm going to remember this moment. And it was actually really emotional. It was lovely. I was really pleased for him because he has been a bit stop-start this season. He has been a bit in and out. There have been question marks. He's not performing like he was previously last season. Is he the guy? Can he live up to the expectations? Is the shirt a little bit heavy? And you could hear people, just murmurings were starting about him. But I was really pleased for him that he got his goal. And I was really pleased for him. You could see how much it meant. And I thought that was lovely. As a fan, that's nice to see. It was as important to him as it was to us. And then, of course, we last 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And Krupi scores. 4-4. What I will just say about this goal as well, it started from a Shaw throw. It was a Manchester United throw, kind of around the halfway line. Shaw throws it. They more or less get the ball from the throw. He runs straight through the midfield. There is no midfielders. There's nobody there. He just runs through. He's immediately at the defence. Martinez doesn't do well. Martinez really doesn't do well, and it's a goal. But that's what I'm talking about. I don't think Martinez should have been on the pitch. It wasn't the time or the game or the tempo. It just wasn't the right match or time to throw him in by my reckoning. But what would I know? Because I am not a Premier League coach. I don't have my badges. I'm just a fan. So as you can see, there was some real swings and roundabouts here. We were all over the shop. What I will just say as well, There are a lot of people saying, well, Bruno Fernandes's free kick shouldn't have happened. It was not a handball. It was on his shoulder. I will agree the ball was quite high up. If that was against my team, I'd be a bit raging. I completely understand. However, I do think these things sometimes even themselves out, because this is a very clear handball in the box. His hand is absolutely nowhere near his body. Not even close. And it's certainly hitting him under the sleeve line. So what I would just say is that sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And I do think, look, even with VAR, sometimes mistakes happen. They make you angry in the moment. Obviously, you're raging when it goes against your team. However, I do think, fair enough, the Bruno free kick, it was probably a bit high up on his arm to be given as a handball. It did lead to a goal, which makes you mad. But this here could have been a penalty. So I think sometimes you just have to accept the way it's gone, which is what I have to do with a 4-4 result against a team that I really hoped we would beat. This was our third opportunity so far to go in to the Champions League spots. We have not taken any of them. Our next match is against Aston Villa. The same Aston Villa that's in third. The same Aston Villa that has won 5 of their last 5 matches. How many matches have they won before that? Can I see? Probably team form. Let's look. Have they won before that as well? So win. Let's go back. Win. Right, so they lost to Liverpool. So they beat Bournemouth, they beat Leeds, they beat Wolves, they beat Brighton, they beat Arsenal, they've beat West Ham. So they're actually on a 6-game win streak. And we're going to play them next. And some of our most important players are going to be at AFCON. I'm not feeling hopeful about that. I find Aston Villa is a very difficult game at the best of times, when we are so hit and miss like this, when we have no midfield, when people are just playing through us, when we have already conceded, was it 26 goals? 26 goals this Premier League season. I am very, very, very worried about Aston Villa. I'm glad everybody enjoyed the game. I'm glad everybody, all the neutrals, thought it was very exciting. I'm so pleased for you that you got a goal fest to watch. Some fun on your Monday night. Please do smash a like on the video. I hope you've enjoyed what I've had to say. Get your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? There was lots to talk about, lots of controversies, because, of course, Manchester United never do anything the easy way. But I suppose the fact is, we're in 6th place and we're only under Crystal Palace by goal difference. It's not dreadful, but I think we have to be very grateful for the level of competitiveness this Premier League season, because it has allowed us to be in 6th place with some pretty dire performances, with not taking points we should be taking. So thank you to the rest of the teams who have been as bad as us at some points. Have a lovely day, and I will speak to you all very soon.